Folks, I love Doctor Octopus. He is my favorite of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, and I like all of Spider-Man's villains. But Otto Octavius may be the best. He is this arrogant, self-titled genius, but keeps getting foiled at every step. It's delicious to watch and a great foil for Peter Parker. And he fails at every step except that time that he stole Peter Parker's body. Don't look into it too much, it's comic books. But we've already seen 3 versions of Otto spoiled for Spider-Man coming up soon. Which one's the best, and can we do something fun with him? Good thing I've got an idea in mind. Call me the master planner. See, what I want to do is make sure Doc Ock's grasping tentacles, his quote-unquote signature spell, lives up to Otto's legacy. See, oddly enough, the tentacles aren't an artifact or equipment and only happens once. I want to make it happen as many times as possible. Ideally, we're creating as many grasping tentacles as the bad doctor has, 4, or as many as a real octopus has, 8. But since this is a spell and not a permanent, we'll be looking to cast, recast, and copy this mill spell with an upside as often as we can. My goal here is to have Doctor Octopus in play, cast the grasping tentacles, and copy it as many times as we can. Easy enough? Not quite. Before we get into the hows of this deck's working, let me know in the comments what your favorite success conditions are in Commander. What makes you feel like you've won, even if you lose the game in the long run? First, let's take a look at all 3 versions of Doctor Octopus to decide who's going to be our commander. And, as mentioned, we have all 3 versions already spoiled to choose from. First is Sinister Scientist. While the cheapest of the versions of Otto, we can't have him as our commander. He's mono blue, and our hidden commander, his tentacles, are blue and black. We'll keep him for the 99 though. Second is Evil Inventor, and this is the showcase version of Otto that's meant to go with his tentacles. But this Otto doesn't do much for our game plan of casting spells. He's more artifact focused and would make a lot more sense to have as our commander if his tentacles were actually artifacts. Sadly, they're not. Lastly, there's Master Planner. Well, he's 7 mana, flavor fail, he should be 8. He's got quite a few lines of text on him. First, he pumps other villains, which, unless there's a whack of good villains in the set, is basically flavor text for pumping your other Doc Ocks. He increases your max hand size to 8, which is neat, I guess, and he's got the very important line of text that lets you draw up to 8 cards in your end step. Eat your heart out, Damia Sage of Stone, Otto does it better. And it's that reason why I want this version of Doc Ock in the command zone. We are digging for spells. We are going to need to have ammunition, and we're going to need to get the card draw advantage. If this Otto survives to your end step even once, you're beating everyone else in card advantage for sure. How are we going to power out a 7 mana commander? Having him in play is part of our success conditions here after all. And that's where good old Urborg and Cabal coffers comes into play. The fastest and least painful way to make a metric ton of mana. Otherwise, you'll need to play for the long game and make up to 7 mana through land drops and mana rocks alone. But that's the easiest part. That's the inevitable part. You'll always have access to Otto. How do we find our tentacles? Outside of the Doc's draw, of course, we could juice that draw with a Teferi's Ageless Insight or an Alhammarret's Archive, turning your draw up to 8 at the end of turn into drawing 16 maximum. Just hope to draw into this spell. Ongoing card draw like Phyrexian Arena and Black Market Connections can help get us there too, 1 card at a time, with one-time draw effects like Frantic Search or Stock Up helping as well. And if we're casting or copying spells as a plan of action, Archmage of Runes and Archmage Emeritus are here to help us along the way. Or you could just tutor for the tentacles, using game changers like Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, and Mystical Tutor. This isn't going to be a high-powered deck, and I don't feel like adding tutors to it makes it oppressive to play against or overly consistent. But the real crux of the deck is how do we get as many copying effects as possible into play? How do we stockpile them on permanent so we ideally just need to cast the tentacles once and copy it as many times as possible? This is where effects like Sword of Wealth and Powers on damage trigger helps, costing no extra mana to get and caring about our next spell cast. This is Mercurial Spelldancer's ability to remove oil counters and have your next instant or sorcery copied, costing no extra mana and being at will. This is a leveled up Echo Mage activation making copies of our spells, or a max speed Slick Imitator copying our spells. It's Swarm Intelligence getting a free copy of any instant or sorcery we cast without any drawback or preparation. Or a Cast Grasping Tentacles through an Ether to get a free copy of it while using the mana to help cast it in the first place. And if it's our second spell of the turn, it's up to a Tomb of Horrors Adventurer to let us copy our spell once or even twice if we've completed a dungeon, or a Storm of Saruman copying our second spell, sitting on the battlefield waiting for us to pop off. There are lots of ways to have permanents rather than spells copy our casts. We even have ways of copying our copies, like an Errant Street Artist, Kitsa Otterball Elite, or my favorite of the bunch, a Twinning Staff. All of these get us more value from copying copies of copies, something I love to do. Casting a Complete the Circuit or Twin Cast is secondary to all of the in-play permanents we can use to make more and more tentacles, but copying them makes us all the more options for doubling doubled spells. In my playing the brew to test a few times, I was able to pop off consistently. My personal best was copying the original Grasping Tentacles 8 times. But the biggest flaw was losing the tentacles. I needed ways to get it back if milled, and I needed the ability to protect it if my opponents were representing any kind of spell interaction. Some counter magic of our own is recommended, be it Counterspell, Swansong, or Negate, just to protect your pieces and your spell. And getting it back from the graveyard has a few options, like recasting it with a Snapcaster Mage, the reliable classic, or using a Kishla Trawlers to return it to our hand and cast it physically over again, or casting it from the graveyard with an Emmet Psyche, with a healthy discount on top of all of that. And, importantly, a neat trick. If you're casting the spell from the graveyard and potentially losing it to an Exile clause, you could Narset's Reversal the original copy of the spell back to your hand, getting a copy of it, and copy the copy while having the original card in your hand to cast again later. I've cast the physical Grasping Tentacles 4 times in a single game once. It's that persistent. But this deck is a great example of how you don't need to aim to win a game of Commander. You can do something else to create a narrative, do something cool, or show off an interesting interaction, and still succeed at the game if you lose the match. So drop your comments for me on what you think of this deck, and what are your favorite success conditions in Commander. You can view my full deck list linked in the description. And don't leave without checking out my sponsors like Card Conduit. They are hands down the easiest way to sell your individual Magic cards without the hassle of traditional buy listing. They'll get you top dollar while handling all of the heavy lifting, from sorting to grading to optimizing your price across a huge network of vendors. And they'll give you cold hard cash for it. You can use the promo code MECHANIC right now for 10% off of all fees. If you're looking for a new deck box or playmat for any of your favorite Commander decks, make sure to check out Bonebox Games. These strong and gorgeous deck boxes are the only ones I trust to protect my triple-sleeved, all-foil Too Many Gyrudas deck. You can use my code MECHANIC5 for 5% off your order at boneboxgames.com. And while you're there, take a look at their classic Decay deck box, now back in stock. Bonebox Games, gear with a backbone. And if you want to pick up the cards for this list, make sure to go check out Card Trader. Use my promo code MECHANIC right now for 5% off your order from any TCG. Card Trader's zero system means you can get cards from all over the world with only one shipping fee. Save money and time today. Lastly, you can check out all of my decks on MOXFIELD. MOXFIELD is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easy to build decks and search for specific cards with their powerful tools. Have you checked out their drag and drop feature yet? It's revolutionary. Be sure to check out my brews and follow my profile there right now. If you were inspired to brew today, you have to hit that subscribe button. Check out this other deck on my channel right now for more sweet tech. And as always folks, good luck and have fun.